Well, hello guys! ¿Qué pasa? What's up? Antonio Serrano here, and today I have a very interesting video for you. Today we are going to talk about my 4 preferred ways to create original routines, original tricks, original material for your magic show. It's been a couple of years, 4 years maybe, that I've been very focused about having my magic show being as original as possible. I love classic magic. I love silks and ropes and newspapers and things like that, but I always want to have a fresh image to my show. And I want people to see my show and go like, I've never seen something like this before, which is something that most magicians hear sometimes because people don't see a magic act that often. But I'm really focused on creating original routines, and I'm gonna give you right now my top 4 ways to create original material, okay? Original routines. There are a lot of techniques to create original things. I recommend to you a great book from Michael Michalko, something like that. I don't know the pronunciation of his name, sorry. Then the book is called Thinker Toys, and it's basically a book about imagination, and he gives you blueprints, ideas, games to expand your ideas, your imagination, how to connect things and all that stuff, and it is a great book. I have used some of those ideas to create tricks. I have tried to use some of the book's thoughts to create routines, and I failed, and I have a lot of routines that they are in a half stage. Like, I have the idea but I don't have the method, I have a method but I don't have a presentation or things like that. So I'm gonna give you the 4 ways that I have tried several times with success, okay? So a great way that I've got here is combining tricks. This is something that I think that Billy McCone, the great Billy McCone, said in one of his books. I think that it was in 20 Years Wiser, I don't remember the number, 20 Years Wiser, something like that, I think it was the name, correct me if I'm wrong. He said that a great way to make a trick or a routine original is combining routines, combining tricks, and that's great. I have seen great magicians like Mark Scotland, where he does cars across, and in between cars across he performs silk to apple. I think that's the way he does it. I think that is in his DVD set On and Off Stage. It is great because he has a very clear premise. It's like, you have these cards, I'm going to move some cards around, but to do that I need to distract you. So I'm going to do this trick for you, so you get distracted, right? You are not focused on the cards, and I can move them around. And that's great because from the get-go, the silk to apple routine is going to be funny, because you are doing that routine with the clear goal of misdirecting them. So that's extremely funny, right? I have here an example of my routines, which is my chop cup routine. In my chop cup routine, I combine a chop cup, I combine earth shoe from Paul Harris with the rock from the shoe, and sometimes I even finish the chop cup routine producing a sign wheel inside of one of the pieces of fruit that I produce from the chop cup. So you have there like 3 tricks: chop cup, rock from shoe, earth shoe, and sign wheel to lemon or to orange fruit, whatever. Those 3 routines combine into one, right? So I have seen audience members, people that have seen my show, say to me, oh, I saw a magician once that signed a wheel and the wheel appeared inside a lemon, but he didn't make the lemon appear. Your trick was great. And I like, no, I basically took 2 or 3 routines and I combined them. But you don't say that to your spectators. You are like, oh great, yeah, it's really fun. So you put everything together. Maybe if I've never receive this comment from an audience member, but if someone tells me, oh, I saw a magician producing a rock from the shoe, and I'm like, yeah, but they didn't do the bits with the ball before and the ball appearing in the shoe. Yeah, so that's the key to it. If you combine tricks it's impossible to find another magician that has the same tricks in that same combination. So that's pretty original by itself, right? And also the act of combining tricks makes extremely hard to justify why you are putting these tricks together. As I explained with Mark Scotland, he does seal to apple in the middle of cards across as a misdirection, as a false misdirection. So why are you going to connect tricks? You can take any two tricks. This trick, okay, egg bag, and I am going to connect egg bag with a rope trick. Okay, but why? Why are you connecting those two tricks? And what is the explanation or the reason behind that? And how are you going to do it? Are you going to put the egg and the bag trick in the middle of the rope trick? Are you going to put the rope in the middle of the egg trick? Are you going to do one and then the other, right? But they are going to be connected in some way, right? That's the key to it. So great piece of information, the idea of combining routines or tricks. Number two, this is for me the easiest and at the same time the hardest way to have original material, and it is presentation. Presentation. A lot of magicians do rope tricks, but the difference between Richard Sanders, sorry, I forgot the name for a bit, Richard Sanders or Mac King, or great magicians, really great rope magicians, everyone does the egg bag, but no one does it like Jeff Hobson. What's the difference between those guys' routines and ours? Is that the presentation. Is that their presentation is so good that the trick is not about the rope or about the egg and the bag. The trick is about the presentation. And that's something that I love. You don't know the amount of times, that I have met with a friend of mine who also is a magician, and I met with a kid running around. He's like, "Oh my God, Mago Antonio, you are Mago Antonio, oh great. I love your Uncle Ramon trick." Uncle Ramon is like my fake uncle, Uncle Ramon, which is a very classic name here in Spain. "I love your Uncle Ramon trick." And my fellow magician said to me, "What's the Uncle Ramon trick? Where have you bought the trick? Where have you bought the trick, the Uncle Ramon?" And I was like, "No, it's just a rope routine. But I perform the rope routine talking about my uncle and how my uncle used the ropes to tie different types of animals because he had a farm and all that stuff, and I do a lot of jokes." So at that point, the trick is not about the rope. The trick is about my uncle. So every time that someone refers to that trick, they talk about that trick naming my uncle, not the rope, because that's the key element. Presentation changes everything, right? That's basically the thing. I remember precisely, and I'm going to get very emotional here, I remember precisely a moment when my heart broke. And it was when one of my friends said to me, "Antonio, have you uploaded on YouTube or in any social media your invisible deck routine?" This was when I was performing the classic routine where I have an invisible deck, shuffle, or take it out the case. You have to take the cards out of the case first, you drop some, and all that stuff. So my friend said to me, "Have you uploaded anywhere that routine?" And I was like, "No, I think I haven't." And they're like, "Be careful, because I think that a magician saw you perform that routine." And I was like, "Why? Why do you think that?" And it was because I was yesterday at a party and there was a magician performing there, and he performed exactly the same trick with exactly the same jokes that you tell. And at that point I was like, well, maybe he copied me, yeah, all that stuff, because I didn't want to break my friend's heart. But I knew from that point exactly that that magician was doing the same thing that I was doing, being lazy. We simply performed the classic routine, nothing original, all stock lines. And a part of me was angry, like, "Oh my God, why is this guy doing my routine?" It's not my routine. So I have no right to feel that angry. So that was the moment when I said, "I love Invisible Deck, I need original routine for me. I need my own invisible deck routine. And nowadays I have three. Nowadays I have three different ways to present an invisible deck that is completely original, 100% mine, and I feel extremely proud about that. I would like to film a video in the near future talking about all of the tricks that I perform that can be performed by me with three different presentations. So one trick can play as three. Okay, I will talk to you about that in future videos. So yeah, presentation is a pretty fast way because you don't have to buy something, you don't have to build anything, you just have to think and write. Looks simple, right? Okay, try it. I wish you good luck. Number three is changing objects. Changing objects. This may need you to go. You may need to go to the a nearby shop, a dollar shop, store, Walmart. I don't know. I don't know what's nearby to your house, nearby where you live. But you go to any shop and you try to change things, right? An idea that I have in mind right now, something original that I have in mind, is, for example, doing a card trick, but instead of using a pack of cards, using a pack of uncooked lasagna, right? I cooked a lasagna for my girlfriend like 2 or 3 days ago, and I was like, oh my god, this looks like a playing card. And now I am thinking, what can I do? Because my first thought was to do card to wallet, because I have performed that close up and on stage a lot of times. But I was thinking about, yeah, but it makes no sense to produce a piece of lasagna inside of a wallet. So I am going round and round and round, and it's basically a trick changing the objects. I have here some examples. For example, I perform cut and restore balloon. Instead of using a ribbon or a rope with the extra loop and the thumb tip, I used a balloon. I also have performed that trick using a face mask and cutting the elastic piece of the face mask. Also, I have performed, and I perform for kids shows, my chop cup routine, but using a Pringles can, right, and a tin foil ball. So it is the same trick in essence, but people are not going to talk about, yeah, the trick with the crochet ball and the cup. No, they are going to talk about the Pringles trick. So it is like a different trick completely right now, simply by changing some objects, right? That's a great tip for you. And last, this is something that I got straight out from Thinker Toys, the book, and it's adding or subtracting. You take an original trick and you add something or you subtract something. Adding is one of my presentations for the invisible deck, when I use a paper bag, an invisible deck, and 3 toy pigs. Yeah, 3 different color pigs that you squish them and they go. I'm pretty sure that you know what kind of toys I'm talking about. So this is a great routine for family audiences, children, adult audiences, and you just have a paper bag with a semi-jumbo or jumbo invisible deck. If I'm doing a very tight show, I can use a poker-sized normal invisible deck. And the 3 pigs, and it's extremely funny. You can perform the invisible deck trick just by having the invisible deck. But by adding the paper bag and the 3 pigs, I have something that is completely original. And people would go out of the theater talking about the pigs trick, not about the invisible deck or about, yeah, I name a car and the car was upside down. No, they are going to be talking about the pigs, right? Obviously. So, by subtracting, I can talk about my silk routine. I lost this for a minute, give me a second. I can talk about my silk routine, my color changing silk routine, because I didn't want to use more than one gimmick. I didn't want to use 2 dye tubes, or a dye tube and a thumb tip, or a fingertip and a thumb tip. I didn't want to use more than one gimmick. I want to streamline the routine. I only wanted to use one gimmick, preferably a thumb tip. I feel more comfortable with a thumb tip than without using a dye tube or a fingertip. So the routine completely changed, presentation wise, moves and all that stuff. I had to change everything because now I have to do this trick, but I only have a gimmick, a thumb tip. So by subtracting, I created something that is original. So that's basically my goal nowadays. I talked to you about the idea of the lasagna deck of cards, right? I think that it would be a good idea in the future to do some videos about the ideas that I have that are not finished, that could be interesting. And in future videos, as I already told you, I would like to talk to you about the different ways that I have to present the same trick, like the invisible deck, ropes, silks, and things like that. So I hope that you found this information useful, right? And I see you in the near future. Bye there.